In 1989, Tim Berners-Lee, a British scientist, invented the World Wide Web, and only 2 years later, the first web page was ever published online. Standard looks of hypertext markup language, more commonly known as HTML, complete the basis of this website I'll be showing you. If we go ahead and take a look right here, we can see the first website ever published. This website only uses HTML and doesn't incorporate any CSS, thus it looks pretty bland, just black and white. However, fast forward 3 decades, and here we are. This is just one of the 1.83 billion websites published to the web that exemplifies the use of front-end web development and programming. As you can see, this website looks a lot more aesthetically pleasing, and it incorporates a lot more CSS, versus the HTML that you just saw, which was just plain black and white. Here we have colors, different schemas, and movement within the website. Programming isn't about what you know, it's about what you can figure out. My name is Gabriel Dragoo, and over the past 9 months, I have dealt with many trial and errors while diving into the world of coding. For my senior project, I've created a portfolio website showcasing my 6 progressional websites to exhibit my work in front-end web development. Continue on, taking a look at my contract. My contract this year was really open with what I wanted and could do. To specify, my only requirement for this year's senior project was to create 6 different websites. My first project, much like the first site ever published, is the bare bones of HTML, and as I progressed, I have learned to input more information and CSS to have my web pages become more aesthetically pleasing. Now, my final web page isn't exactly the absurdly creative website you just saw, but it's a start to a new beginning. Due to the nature of this year and the setbacks, I unfortunately wasn't able to get a close-fitting mentor that could guide me on this journey. However, that didn't stop me from turning to other avenues. My first course of action was to relearn the basics of HTML, to get an overall better understanding and make use of the more developed knowledge given to me. For this, I used many different websites such as codecademy.org, udemy.com, and youtube.com. All these sources were free to use and not only helped me keep my budget in the range I wanted to, but they were very inventive on how to learn. Through Codecademy, I learned the basics of HTML and CSS through one of their online courses to relearn the basics and understand my foundation. Then, for Udemy, I took free online courses to grow my understanding and knowledge of the fundamentals of both HTML and CSS. Lastly, YouTube helped me learn how to create websites through different starter projects. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what exactly I've been working on. If we take a look here, we can see my portfolio website. To make things easier, to load and more efficient, I took all my individual projects, such as project 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I compiled them into one website in order for all of the 6 of my individual websites to become web pages. Now, as I continue on with my presentation, you'll see images of my websites and their corresponding code, and I can go ahead and go a little more in detail with most of it. To start off, I want to teach you something. When it comes to coding and using HTML and CSS, the HTML is essentially the backbone and foundation of your website. Without HTML, there is no CSS, and to create a website, you need HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and when you have a complete website that only uses HTML, your website will look quite bland, much like my first, second, and third project. If we go ahead and take a look right here, this would be my first project. Pretty much black and white, and I even learned how to insert an image. If we go back to our home, second project, same use, HTML. We learned how to use tables, lists, as well as embed videos. Let's go back to home. And now if we go to our third project, which is more of a blog, you can see how we incorporated both images, different tags like the bolding tag, paragraph tags, our listed tags, how to create a table, and embed a video. Also, we also learned how to embed a link to a different website. To move on, let's take a look at CSS and its functions. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and its main purpose is to add style and layout for your project. Go ahead and take a look right here. You can see that there's a huge difference between the imagery between just using straight HTML and the use of CSS. Go ahead and just scroll through. You could add color, images, and much more to make it look more, like I said in the beginning, aesthetically pleasing. Now that you have a basic understanding of what both HTML and CSS is, let's go ahead and take a look at my code for all my websites. Alright, so I may lose you here in a bit of places, so be sure you're paying extra attention. To get us started with this portion of the presentation, I'll go ahead and show you about each of my websites, its coding, and how the code corresponds to the website. For my very first website, I learned that when starting an HTML website, you need the skeleton of it. When I say skeleton, it's essentially just the outline or layout of what the website is going to look like. Here to begin with, you must always have a doc type HTML. Now this includes our doc type, letting you know what type of website it's going to be, and it also includes the open HTML tag, which is right here at the very top. Now, when you also have an opening tag, or this actually goes for most tags actually, when you have an opening tag, you must have a closing tag. And the closing tag is pretty much just, if we take a look at the bottom, it's a forward slash with what the tag is supposed to look like. So forward slash HTML tag. Within this HTML tag is where all the magic happens and where you can start off. Two other major tags that most websites will have when inside the HTML tags would be the open and closed head tag, which we can find right here, as well as the open and closed body tag and paragraph tag. So here we have the body tag, the paragraph tag, which is just the p tag. Then as you can see down here, we have our closed p tag, and then over here we also have a closed body tag. And those two tags is where the majority of your text will be and appear. Continuing on, we're going to go ahead and jump to Project 3. Our Project 3 is pretty much just using what we learned in Project 1 and Project 2 together to create a blog. Now here we have the code for it, starting right about here where image source is. And this is pretty much exactly what it is. It's an image source. So we're getting the image and we're going to be putting it at the very top of our page. If we go ahead and take a look at our project right over here, this is the opening. This is where the image will be. Healthy foods for you. If we go ahead and take a look back over here, we use the bold tag, which is just B. That's our bold tag right there. Healthy foods for you. Here we have our P tag, which is pretty much this entire paragraph right here. The BR stands for break line, and that essentially just in the actual website shows you where it'll break. So must do break line. If we go ahead and take a look right here, it says must do break line. So it'll be continuing on with the next line. Following this, we have our lists. If we go ahead and take a look at our code, we have our listing starting right here. This is an unordered list. And then UL stands for unordered list, and LI stands for list item. And it continues on going down. If we go ahead and keep on scrolling, we can take a look at our table. This is our borders right here. Table row, table header. Table row, table header. And this is pretty much just defining the table. If we go ahead and take a look right here, that output or that input creates this output right here. Now, let's go back. We scroll down some more. We have another p tag just pretty much stating a paragraph. Right here, we say you can visit, and then it includes a link. So it makes this whatever it's going to say right here. So as it says right here, it'll make it clickable. If we go ahead and take a look right back over here, right here, you're able to click it and it'll take you to an external website. Continuing on, we learned how to embed a link. So right here is pretty much just taking you to a different website in order to watch a video, or you could just press play, like so. Moving on, with CSS, it's a bit different. When it comes to CSS, it is more so used to define features within the already written HTML. So right here, we'll take a look at our Project 6. My Project 6 pretty much includes, right here, all the HTML usage for it. And as you can see, it doesn't look like much if we scroll down. Just some code. But if we go ahead and take a look at our styles, right here I have a comment right here suggesting that it's Project 6. So everything below it is going to pertain to Project 6. So all of this right here deals, all this CSS deals with Project 6, and so on and so forth, all the way down to the bottom. If you take a look right down to our right, we are about right here. All of this scrolling down deals with Project 6. If we go ahead and scroll up, we can take a look, and I can actually show you how everything pertains to CSS when defining in HTML. So right here, we have .navbar. If we go to our Project 6, we go down here, we have a class, and then we call it, or we name it, navbar. When we go to styles, we put our period, and it calls for it. So everything within this navbar and these curly brackets pertains to what's going to be inside the navbar. So the background's going to be black, the height 80 pixels, display is going to be flex, justify content censor, and so on and so forth. So if we go to Project 6, this nav class navbar This all pertains all the way down to right here. So if we go ahead and click it, you can see that nav follows the way down here. So everything within this bracket or tag is going to deal with the .nav bar in our CSS. Now, to actually put that in perspective with our website, if we go ahead and look at our project 6, this is our project 6 right here. Now, as you can see, it's still loading up a little bit, but we have this right here as our homepage. We have our tech page, our product page, as well as our sign up page. And all of it coincides with each other using CSS. Overall, the many things I have learned over the course of these past 9 months will truly help me in my future. As my educational years progress, I plan to go to Penn State University to study in computer science, all whilst in their AFROTC program, so when I graduate, I can be commissioned as an officer in the Air Force in the specialty of computer science and programming. So learning the basics now of programming and coding will help me have a leg up in the near future, whether it be a large or a small one. One day, I hope to contribute to the World Wide Web in one way or another to help further technological advances and make my mark. Thank you.